Sprints. Grip Sprints is the most effective shoe-to-court traction solution on the market. I've tried a lot of different traction products over the last 28 years and can say with 100% certainty that Grip Sprints is the best. We don't only use Grip Sprints with our athletes, but also with my students in our physical education classes. Enter RBCN10 when purchasing Grip Sprints products, and you'll receive a 10% discount and free shipping. Are you kidding me? In 2025, free shipping? Yep. Contact Grip Sprints via their website and enter code RBCN10 and you'll get 10% discount and free shipping for the best shoe-to-court traction solution on the market.
Derek Sheridan from Rust Belt Basketball Coaches Network. We got a treat tonight for you. We have Ross Kaufman, just finished a practice, and he agreed to jump on a quick Zoom call to update us on Season Update Coaches Show, episode number 12. Currently, Ross's Miller City Wildcats are 17-6, and they have beat a lot of really good teams this year, including Toledo Christian, Maumee Valley Country Day, Paulding, and Emmanuel Christian. So, Coach, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We wouldn't miss a chance to talk with Ross Kaufman for all the gold in Belfast. Ross, let's start off tonight. Just tell us about your team, and did anybody step up and surprise you this year?
Yeah, I mean, we coming into the season, we knew we had probably about 6-7 seniors. We had one that kind of wasn't sure. He was kind of on the fence, ended up not going out for us this year. So, for us coming in, we really had 3 post guys, and with one of those kind of dropping off, that kind of left us with Brendan and Jude, who have been really big for us the last couple of years. They played a little bit of sophomores, really got into a big role last year, and they've been leading our team in points, rebounds, all those big stats for us. So pretty happy with what they're doing. Our other 4 seniors, they've kind of had some role situations for us as the year's gone on. And, Will, who this is kind of his 3rd year playing varsity for us as well. Not a big scorer, but he can get streaky. I think he had 16 points the other night. I think 14 were in the first quarter against Continental. So he's been big. He went out with a broken thumb for about 4 or 5 games, 6 games maybe. So during that time, some of these other guys have had some opportunities. Henry Rump, Jr., he's been really good for us, especially on defensive ends, gotten a little better. His shooting's not quite where it was last year, but he's one of those guys again that can get hot at any moment for us. Andrew, senior, kind of playing some sporadic minutes on and off. He's being more aggressive, which is what we like, driving to the basket, not just being a one-dimensional guy. Bubba, kind of becoming a little bit more of a leader at the point guard role, on and off a little bit. His shot's starting to fall. And then Alex Ruck, I mean, he's been great for us all year. Just being a sophomore coming in and taking charge at the point, he's done a fantastic job.
I noticed when we recorded one of your practices, one thing your kids do an exceptional job of is handle the basketball. And the plethora of ball handling drills that you start practice with, and then you also throw them in, at least in the practice we saw in the middle, I thought was fantastic. It was refreshing to see someone working on those core fundamental skills. Tell us about your regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we started the season really strong. I think we started off 7-0 for the first time in a long time. We've kind of added some different teams to the schedule, it seems like, these last couple of years. I know next year it's changing a little bit more. I think with these new divisions, some teams are trying to get into, more of their district opponents, things like that, competitive balance and things. So for us, things are constantly changing, which is fine. We've gotten to see some, teams a little bit more north, like Maumee Valley. We've had Emmanuel Christian, Toledo Christian, Swanton. I mean, those have been some really good opponents for us because it's a different style. And that's the big thing for us is, can we guard these different styles of play? What do their defenses look like? How they discipline, what they do, that sort of thing. So it's kind of been nice for us to see these different things. And we started off strong in the season there. We had Crestview opening up, who was kind of I don't want to say a rival, but, that tournament game last year was close, and then they brought back a lot of great players. Jude, he's had his hands full, especially first couple games. I think, Ren Sheets, NWC Player of the Year, 2 years, great District 8 player for us. And, him being 6'7", and I think he's got 50-something blocks this year is just insane. Then he turns around, he's got the Woods kid from Swanton, who, 6'10" or so, 6'9". Then we turn around Maumee Valley. They've got a guy at 6'10", 6'11". So defensively, it's been a good challenge for us. And then now we're starting to get into a little bit more teams we're used to seeing, kind of that PCL in the tournament run here, where it's more quickness, more guard play oriented. I like these matchups we're starting to get now, and our guys have battled. And we talk about preparation for that tournament run. I think we've been tested to where we've had these big teams and quick guards and things that later on in tournament we might see, some 6'7", 6'8" guys bigger. But right now we just got to get through this more guard oriented type of play.
Yeah, and you're going to see some really good guards for the next two games. I got to throw this in there. I really admire the fact, Ross, that you're willing to drive. That's a heck of a drive from Miller City to Toledo Christian, and I believe that game was at TC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that started a couple years ago.
Okay.
We were in a holiday tournament
Mhm.
situation, and one of the teams dropped out, and we were supposed to play a certain team, and we both got shorted against. We're like, we'll just play each other. So we actually went there 2 years ago. They came our way last year, and then now we went back their way this year. So, but it's been very good, very
Mhm.
competitive. Those last couple matchups, I think at last four, I think we're split 2-2 even maybe. So it's been very good, very competitive. I mean, they've had some great phenomenal players and great coaching there. So it's nice when you can make that, if it's going to be a longer drive, that it can be that competitive and give you something.
Especially when you win.
Yeah, for sure.
Kester, he's a animal. He's one of the better post players I've seen. And I know people kind of smirk when I say he's only 6'5". In Northwest Ohio. 6'5" isn't anything people jump over barrels and celebrate. Everybody's got a 6'5" kid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've been fortunate enough, having Jude be a bigger kid for us. We had some big guys last year. We're not used to having that size all the time. I mean, we're used to like maybe a 6'3" or 6'2". I know my first couple years we were lucky to have a 6'1" kid at the post. So for us, it's more about your abilities and your
Hmm.
willingness to do the little things. And we try to really focus on like the detail orientation of everything more than just, hey, I'm big, I'm strong, what can I do there? So
I respect that 100%. But I will say, if you've got a 6'7" kid who can do all of those things, that seems to help just a little bit.
yeah, yes, it does.
So let's move on now and talk about who is the toughest team Miller City has faced this season.
This RBC in production is sponsored by Game One and LJ Archambault. Get with LJ for any and all of your program's merch needs. You will not find a more capable, loyal, punctual, and honest sporting goods salesman than LJ Archambault. I can most certainly vouch for Game One and LJ, as I have been a client of theirs for nearly 2 decades. Contact LJ at Game One and you will thank me later. At Game One, it's always game on.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of good teams that we played against. Looking at our record, end of the season record, we were 16-6. Four of those being just in the PCL. Three of them actually being in this district with us right now in the finals. So there's definitely a lot of great coaching in this area and a lot of competitiveness, and kind of that rivalry, I think, between grades and kids. Ottoville always brings something special with how hard they work. And I know we'll talk about that in a little bit. Clyde defensively, they don't score the ball a lot, but their defense is so packed, it's so strong, and they've got so much depth there that it's so much work every time down the floor offensively that you're just looking to get a shot at times, it seems like. And I would have to say the toughest team we played all year is Patrick Henry. I mean, they've got, not a ton of depth, but the Heber kid he's a big guy. The Krieger brothers, they each do such different things, but they're so good at, being a shooter at the right moment or being a driver at the right moment and just physically defense. Last year when we played the Miller City, I think being that home court advantage kind of gives you a little bit of something. And then we just had some guys last year that their job was just setting a tone physically on defense. And I think they do a really good job of that. They come out very physical. They're not afraid to foul. It's just we're going to set that physical tone and wear you down for 32 minutes.
They're exceptional this year. I've had the opportunity to see them play several times, and they are really good. They've got the big three. They can shoot it, they can handle it, and they've got bigs inside who can finish. One of the games I saw them play against a very good opponent, they just murdered the opposition on the offensive glass. And, that's just adding another factor to a team that physical that makes them as good as they are.
Yeah, I mean, we take pride on trying to be physical on the defensive end, and they take that kind of to that next level with the way that they kind of play things. That game was kind of one of those weird ones where that was the game Will broke his thumb early. We had a couple other guys get banged up, come back in, and it just kind of got into a weird flow of things. But for them, I think they're very used to that physicality, and they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It's hard to really kind of get your footing right from the get-go to keep that close for the end of the game.
I agree. The NWOAL is a extremely physical league, extremely, and people who might not know who are on this or watch it. So is the PCL. I know Kalida because one of my buddies, Brian Vorst, played at Kalida, Fort Jennings. There's a lot of teams in that league who are very physical. Miller City being one. Every time I bring up Miller City, no matter where I'm at in this area, everyone's like they will just beat you to death physically.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things. It took me a long time. I don't want to say a long time, but it took us a couple years to kind of get that. Because I think things are kind of changing the way the game's being called and stuff, and the physicality, like you said. So for the PCL, I mean, it's one of those you either had to adapt or you're just going to get run out of the gym and you're going to get
Yep.
worn down way too easy. And being smaller schools, you don't have a lot of guys, so it is preparation and it's being in shape all year round. And the drills we do have a lot of running and a lot of being physical, with the pads and stuff. It's that adaptation. You have to be physical all the time if you want to give yourself a chance in those games.
Yes, and your league, as with the NWOAL, has the reputation being physical. So when officials get those jobs, they know what to expect, and that's a huge benefit for both of the coaches on the sideline.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we know going in that usually it's going to be not a lot of calls. We know it's going to be physical, so yeah, we really have to adapt to it. And I always tell our guys it's easier to be physical and kind of back off, depending on how the game's being
Hmm.
called, than it is to get more physical because then officials aren't quite used to that. They're not really sure what to expect. So we really try to start out as physical as we can, and then if we need to back it off, we back it off just a little bit with adapting to what the officials are calling.
Well said. That's a fantastic philosophy. And when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, if I'm ever in need of assistance, I know who to call, Ross Kaufman. So let's talk about your postseason thoughts, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, our first game, I think tournament draw kind of went how we were expecting. Ottoville losing the Horseman kid, we knew that was going to be a big hit for them. We weren't quite sure where they were going to go. But being the one seed for the first time in a long time, we want to take that first spot. And then we'll just kind of see where everything balances. I think the guys were happy with what we got. And then, having that first game kind of be that play-in versus, either Corey Rawson or Continental. Uh, it's kind of weird because, being in like the Northwest district here, it's still the big topic is when are we going to open up these super regionals? When are we going to open up these big districts and things? Because it is like our district is all Putnam County teams minus Grove and then add in Holgate and Corey Rawson. So for us, we're all used to seeing each other. Sometimes they play twice a year, sometimes it's just once. But it's interesting because you don't have to scout as much because you know what you're expecting. But on the other hand, how do you add in a few things at the end of the year to get comfortable and kind of keep teams on their toes? So it's kind of keeping a balance there. Going against Continental, we knew that they would put up a fight. We knew that, being more physical, being more athletic, we just had to try to keep them running as much as possible. And I thought we did a great job of that, everybody coming in. But yeah, coming into this Ottoville game, the big thing for us is, how do we limit what they have? We know they've got some shooters. We know they're good on defense. We know everything kind of revolves around the Miller kid. So for us, we got to get the ball out of his hands and try to make them adapt into a new offensive system.
Well said. I wish I could be there for the love of goodness. I wish I could be there, but we have parent-teacher conferences until 8 p.m. that night at Maumee City Schools. So I do not think my principal would smile upon me asking for a pass to not be at parent-teacher conferences. I just have a sneaking sensation that might not be a good question to ask.
Yeah.
But I really, really, because I texted Matt Brighton, the head coach at Delta, Sunday, and I said, "Hey, we can't go to. I mean, you can go, but I can't go out to Elida on Thursday because I've got darn parent-teacher conferences, and I forgot about it because they got postponed due to the ice storm. So of course we throw them on a freaking Thursday when the teams I want to see are playing. So go
Yeah,
figure."
yeah. This tournament's been interesting because usually we're used to that Saturday and then we turn around like a Tuesday, Friday. So it's definitely different for us.
Hmm.
You know, kind of this we got this longer period for that first game, and then it's a quick turnaround. So, you know, like even the drawing process is kind of interesting now because the sectionals, you have the home court advantage possibly in our area. You know, like I don't want to go play certain teams at their court when I can meet you on a neutral floor. And I think that plays effect. And then, you know, okay, now we're playing on a neutral floor, but you know, do I want to give you 4 days to prep, or would I rather try to give you 1 day to prep on a turnaround? There's definitely a little bit of cat and mouse going on, I think, with some of these draws nowadays.
Danny's Cafe, located in beautiful Rossford, Ohio, is the ultimate pre and post game location. RBCN is a supporter of small businesses, and Danny's Cafe is one of our favorites. The University of Findlay basketball legend Brad Morrison has created an establishment that not only offers the best food in Northwest Ohio, but also the best environment to watch and support your favorite high school, college, and professional teams. The only place I've ever seen with more flat screen TVs is Costco. Plus, the service at Danny's is unreal. If you're looking for a clean, friendly, and upbeat place to hang out and enjoy life for a while, check out Danny's Cafe, located directly across the street from Rossford High School.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I think it's been that way for a long time with the way it's ran in Northwest Ohio. But days of preparation was something we looked at. Let's talk about the first time they played, folks. It was on January 17th, and Ottoville got Miller City 38-30. And that was a really physical game. My heavens. There was not one scalp left on either side after that battle. So it's going to be a great battle. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. My research that I did after we spoke this afternoon, you were missing a player.
Yes, yeah. So we were missing Will that week. So that Monday we had Patrick Henry at Patrick Henry. That's when Will broke his thumb, and then he was out kind of for the next I think 6 games or so. He came back. He's got a little we wrap it and everything now. It feels pretty good. But yeah, he that was kind of the first game that we didn't have him. And I think going into like a big league game, you know, we were 2-0, I think at the time. Um, Without, you know, a big leader on the floor. You know, he's a vocal guy. It's funny to say he's a vocal guy because if you know Will, he's very, very quiet. But he has been a vocal guy on the floor for us. He kind of gets things organized. Last year, he became the point guard for us. Never played point before. Did a fantastic job. Now he's kind of on a wing spot. But you know, without him, I think our mental state just wasn't quite there, and I don't think you know we were ready to go. And as the game went on, I give them a lot of credit. You know, we didn't shoot well. They did some things defensively that got us out of rhythm. So I'm not just going to say, well, we lost because Will wasn't there. But you know, this is kind of a flip flop situation. We've got him back. They're missing, you know, Landon. So this is kind of a different mental state. Now they've had some games without him to prepare and things like that. But I think for our guys, knowing that no matter what state he's in, Will being there can be on the floor, can give us some opportunities. I think that is just a positive mindset for our guys going into this game.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So let's look at the district championship. You'll have the winner of Kalida and Fort Jennings on March 4th, 6 p.m. at Elida High School. Which of those two would you rather see?
That's kind of a loaded question. You know, I think both teams have been playing fairly well. I think each of them kind of have their own things that they do defensively. They play very similar defensive styles, I think, with physicality and what they like to take away. For us, I think our guys mentally would rather play Fort Jennings, just because you know it was a 2 point game. It was ended up being a foul at the very last second. They got 2 free throws to actually go up and end up winning it there. So I think for our guys mentally, I think they would rather have Fort Jennings for the revenge factor than necessarily Kalida. But I think our guys, you know, after last season, you know, we had them twice in tournament, beat them twice in tournament. You know, having kind of a tough game at Kalida this year, I think our guys would either way. I think us if getting past Thursday getting to that Saturday game. I think mentally we'll be locked in. But I think for our guys, they would probably prefer Fort Jennings just for knowing that it was a 2-point game. It was right there. We had some opportunities. We just didn't quite finish things out.
Yeah, they'd like to see them again, as you said, get some revenge. Coach, unless you got anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
the one thing I will say, uh, our community's been really great, at the games and things. And after our game on Friday, we do our pictures and everything, and we get to go around and talk to people. Our priest, Father Scott, he was there. We got to talk to him a little bit, and we talk a lot about like our faith with our guys and stuff, and how we can kind of have that impact on each other. And Father said the one day on Friday, he goes, I went into church and he goes, I was doing some stuff, and he goes, I walk out and all the teams just praying together. They're all praying together. We pray before every game and talk and things about, where our talents come from and why we play the game and things. So for us, I think, we try to remind our guys being faith first, keeping that at the center of everything. It's kind of been a tough year. We've had some kids diagnosed with cancers, and we had a student pass away and some stuff. So for us, I think understanding that the game is fun, it's great, it's everything we want, but there's so much more to it. Has been a big thing for us this year. No matter what happens Thursday and going forward, we've got each other, we've got our faith, and that's been a big thing for us. So.
Well, it's refreshing to hear someone say that. It's really been refreshing. With a lot of the coaches I've spoken with this season have said the same thing. I love the fact that your team father comes around a lot. I love it. And I love the fact that your kids know that this is a game, and there's a lot to be said for that. Coach, I thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time right in the midst of your preparation. And Godspeed. I hope you win. I really do. That way, there's a strong chance maybe I could move my schedule around and watch that game next Friday, correct?
Saturday. So yeah,
Saturday.
yep,
Yes,
yeah.
Saturday. So that's something that I'm hoping I can do. So Godspeed. And selfishly speaking, I'm excited that I got to know you and know a little bit about Miller City basketball. And I hope that everything that you want out of this postseason, you get.
I appreciate that. I really do. It's been great, being on and being able to talk with you guys and share the game and everything you guys do. It's great. We learned so much from it, and it's awesome just to get it out there and share with everybody.
Well, I appreciate that. You please tell your team that I'm pulling for them.
I will. I appreciate that.
Okay, coach. Hey, get some rest. Don't forget to, take care of yourself.
Yep.
All
We
right, go
appreciate
see
it.
that beautiful wife of yours.
All right. Thank you.